The first time I saw him was during orientation week. A sea of unfamiliar faces swam around me, all laughing and talking like they already belonged here. I didn't. I stood near the edges of the crowd, clutching a campus map like it was the only thing tethering me to this new world. Then he walked in. Ethan Rivera, golden hair that caught the light, a smile that belonged in a toothpaste commercial, and a confidence that radiated from him like warmth from the sun. He wore a plain white t-shirt and faded jeans, but he might as well have been dressed in starlight. People gravitated to him, effortlessly, girls flipping their hair, guys reaching out for fist bumps and inside jokes I couldn't understand. I stood there like a ghost in a room full of life, watching him. That was the beginning. For weeks, I studied him from a distance. I learned his routines Monday and Wednesday mornings. He had Psych 101 in the Humanities building. He liked iced coffee, always from the cafe near the library, where he'd flirt playfully with the barista and laugh in that easy way that made your chest ache. On Fridays, he played soccer on the field behind the dorms. Even if you didn't know him, you knew of him. He was the kind of person everyone loved without trying. And I was just me, quiet, invisible, a face in the crowd. Sometimes I'd sit on a bench near the field pretending to study, my eyes flicking up from my textbook to watch him run. Move like he was born to be seen, fast, fluid, golden. Every now and then he'd laugh loudly enough that it reached me, and I'd pretend it was for me. For a moment, I'd let myself imagine he noticed me, that maybe I mattered, but he never did. It wasn't just attraction. It wasn't just the way his t-shirt clung to his back when he ran, or the way his voice dipped low when he was being sincere. It was the way he listened when people talked to him, the way he gave his full attention, like you were the most important person in the world. It was the way he sat under the tree near the science building after class, reading some thick novel, completely unaware that my eyes had found him again. I was hopelessly, silently falling, and it wasn't fair. I never asked to feel this way. I never wanted to ache when I saw him laughing with someone else. I never wanted to dream of brushing fingers with him while passing him a pen in class, a class we didn't even share. I never wanted my heart to beat faster every time he came close, only to fall into my stomach when he passed without seeing me. But the heart never asks, just wants. Then I saw her. It was a Thursday afternoon, and the quad was packed. I was sitting in my usual spot with my notebook open, tending to write poetry I'd never show anyone, when I saw him walking toward me. For one stupid, wild second, I thought he was coming to talk to me. But he was. She caught up to him halfway across the grass, her red dress catching the breeze like a flag. She flung her arms around his neck, and he laughed that laugh I knew too well. Then he kissed her. I don't know how long I sat there after that, staring at the place where his hands had curled around her waist. I wanted to feel nothing. I told myself I shouldn't be surprised. Of course, someone like Ethan had someone who's perfect, and perfect people don't stay alone for long. But it still felt like being punched from the inside out. That night, I cried into my pillow like a child. Silent, muffled sobs that shook through my chest because I didn't want my roommate to hear. I buried my face into the fabric and let myself break for someone who didn't even know I existed. From that point on, everything hurt more. I avoided him when I could. I took the longer route to class if I saw him ahead. I stopped going to the soccer field, but the universe was cruel. No matter how much I tried to keep my distance, he appeared. In the hallway, laughing with his friends. In the cafe line in front of me, on the bus seat across from mine, tapping his fingers on his jeans as if to some song in his head. And every time I felt my chest tighten like a vice squeezing around my ribs. Sometimes, when he brushed past, me or we locked eyes for a fleeting second, I felt something I hated - hope. Hope that maybe this time, he'd smile. Maybe this time, he'd say hi. Maybe this time, he'd ask for my name. But he never did. There was a moment, just one, that I let myself dream. It was raining. I was walking alone under a navy umbrella that barely held together. I turned the corner, and there he was, standing under the building's awning, soaked and shaking out his wet hair. He looked up, and our eyes met. For once, he really saw me. I don't know what got into me, but I offered him my umbrella. My voice came out shaky, foreign, like it belonged to someone braver. He blinked, surprised, then smiled that dazzling smile that could make flowers. "Bloom, thanks," he said, taking the umbrella gently. We walked together. He asked my name. I told him. We talked about the rain, about books, about how college sometimes felt like drowning, and in that imagined moment, he laughed at something I said. He looked at me like I mattered. He handed back the umbrella at the dorm steps and said, "We should talk more sometime." But that moment wasn't real. It never happened. I just passed him in the hallway. He didn't even look up. I started writing letters I'd never send. Sometimes I wrote them on scraps of napkins at the cafe. Sometimes in my journal late at night when the room was quiet and my thoughts too loud. "Dear Ethan, I saw you today. You look tired. I hope you're okay." He smiled at her again. "I wish I could make you smile like that. I think I'm in love with you. I don't know what to do." I kept them all in a box under my bed. A collection of unsent feelings, little confessions sealed in ink and silence. Time passed. His relationship grew. I saw them together at the winter festival, her scarf wrapped around his neck as she held his hand. I watched them kiss under the lights strung between trees. I stood there in the cold, pretending not to care while my hands trembled in my pockets. Friends asked me why I never dated, why I was always alone, smiled and said I was too busy or just picky. I didn't tell them that my heart already belonged to someone who didn't even know my name. It was agony, loving him quietly. It was torture, being so close and so completely invisible. One day I saw him sitting alone under that same tree by the science building. His head was in his hands. He looked lost. I wanted to go to him, to ask if he was okay, to offer anything comfort, a joke, even just silence. But I just watched from across the courtyard, my fingers digging into the straps of my backpack, until they hurt. Because even if I sat beside him, even if I said the perfect thing, he'd never see me the way I saw him. And that knowledge broke something inside me. Graduation came faster than I expected. Caps and gowns, goodbyes and photo albums. I saw him across the auditorium, his arm around her shoulders, both of them beaming. I snapped one last picture of him from a distance. I don't know why. Maybe I needed proof that he was real, that this whole silent love story happened even, if only on my end. That night, I went back to my dorm and took out the box of letters. I read through each one, then I burned them. I watched the paper curl and blacken, the smoke rising in delicate spirals. With every letter that turned to ash, a part of me let go, not of the love, but of the hope. Years later, I still think of him sometimes, when it rains, when someone laughs in that same unguarded way, and I walk past the soccer field and hear the thud of a ball against the ground. I wonder if he's happy. I hope he is. He never saw me, not really. But I saw him, and that's what I'll carry with me, a quiet, aching kind of love, the kind that never asks for anything in return, the kind that simply exists, like a ghost or a shadow or the echo of something beautiful that almost was. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's all it was ever meant to be.